Justice White, I've already checked, we do have cook, and if we didn't, I would have presented it to the court without a recommendation. Sit down.
We're just gonna take
Yes, you
this.
heard that. Next thing you know, you'll tell me to shut up.
This is for the minute.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, the first thing that we've got to do today is to the insurance committee meeting, and we need to set a cap on the HRA. What that means is the amount of money that the county can reimburse us for Medicare. I got an email, or I think Brenda got it and forwarded it on to me. Anyway, I have it in my little sweaty hands. Joanne has recommended a cap of around $375. She said that that should cover any plan or any supplement chosen. If we don't set the cap, then the insurance reimbursement automatically goes to $839, which is the premium for our insurance. So we must set a cap. I've talked to Justice Burge and I've talked to Justice White. I didn't think we was going to have enough to have a quorum, but we do. And we are going to recommend to the rest of the committee to set the cap at $400. So if anybody has any comments to make, please do so, and if not, we'll take a recommendation to do that.
I'll make a motion, we set a cap of $400.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to set the cap for the HRA at $400. Any further discussion about the motion? All in favor say aye. Got that one.
Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Now, there's a form that you must fill out if you anticipate or if you plan to get reimbursement for Medicare, and Brenda has it.
I'm sorry?
You have them?
Yes, I have some.
She has one, so you might want to get it before you leave. Is there any other business that we need to talk about for the insurance committee?
Justice Nelson, I got a phone call yesterday from the doctor's office that has got some outstanding bills with our previous insurance company. And I talked to them about it just a second ago, and I don't know what to do. They've got bills that date back to September of last year, and they've submitted and submitted and submitted to the point that now the insurance company won't even call them back. And because it appears that we were in that self-insured ERISA type payment program, that eventually it falls back on us. And so you told me just a minute ago, didn't you, Barb, that
I emailed Jen, and what she told me is they were waiting on funding from the reinsurer.
so how long are they going to wait?
I don't know. I gave that email to Kelly, and she called Michelle, and Michelle she told Kelly again not to worry about it, and she would handle it, but.
Well, this was just yesterday afternoon, the doctor's office called me and just
Right.
asked
It
for
was
help.
last week when I got the email from Jenna. And
So
I gave it
this
to
isn't
Kelly,
the
and Kelly
only
talked
place
to
that's doing
Michelle.
that?
No,
There are other complaints of
there are several complaints
our insurance not
of
paying
performance
claims.
not paying. Mhm.
And see, that was one of the things Justice White and some of us were talking about. We did not know that we were in a self-insured program until almost at the end of the year, wasn't it, Justice White, before
That's correct.
anyone ever mentioned to us that we were in self-insurance. We thought we just went a regular insurance program. So,
But since we do, is there a penalty of sorts?
Say that again, Justice Clark.
Since we know now, and is there a penalty?
Well, I don't know about a penalty, but we've got several claims that apparently haven't been paid. And, we got this one other time, and Judge Nelson will remember because he was on the court then. And we ended up paying out of the county general fund, and it ended up being really expensive.
substantial.
Yeah.
I mean, I had issues with them not paying.
Did you?
And they called, I mean, I got letters from collection agency, and I would call the provider, I would call the insurance company, and I would call the collection agency. And I never got turned over to a collection, it never went on my credit report, and everything's been resolved, but it just takes some time and phone calls. And I think if we'll be patient, I think they'll do the right thing. But I mean, I would not jump to no conclusion, I mean, wouldn't jump up right now and start paying the claim.
Oh, no, I wouldn't either. No, I'm not suggesting that.
But if
at
these
all.
people are getting letters from collection agency, they need to call the provider, explain to them what's going on, they need to call the lady.
Kelly.
Call Kelly.
No, they need to call the insurance company itself.
Yes.
But they won't answer is what they said.
I called them just the other day, they answered.
Oh, okay.
You talked to Jenna.
Yes,
Jenna's the one that,
yes.
I've emailed her several times and she hadn't gotten back with me yet.
Really?
But I'll try again today.
But I mean, I still got claims I hadn't paid, but I'm not having any troubles. I mean, but I think they're all about to get paid. But what happens too is the provider, a lot of time, bills the insurance company incorrectly, and then, you know, you get a new person that don't know how to do exactly the billing just right. And if they can find anything wrong, they're gonna use that opportunity not to pay that claim until it's exactly perfect, because that, the longer their money sits in the bank, the better off they are, you know. But
I
that's,
just wanted to bring it up, that was just brought to my attention, and then she was telling me that there are other complaints, you know, so we just need to be aware and not get caught off guard down the road. I don't think we can really do anything, just like Justice Norvell said, I don't think we need to pay, but I sure hope it doesn't eventually come to that. We ended up having to several years ago, and it was over $200,000 in claims that we paid out.
The question is, at that time, did y'all have where, I forget what you just called it?
Reinsure.
The reinsurer, was there a reinsurer?
There was a reinsurer, and you know where he turned out to be? Pango.
Okay.
And that's not a joke.
We know that Gerber is,
that my
Gerber is
district?
the reinsurer.
Is that my district?
That could be.
Yeah, Gerber's the reinsurer on this one, so
That's
we're,
correct.
I think we're in a lot better shape.
Yeah, I think we're in a lot better shape.
And if we do have to pay them, we'll sue the Gerber, you know, all
Exactly.
much benefit.
I just wanted to bring it to your attention, Justice.
Okay, anything else
I
we
didn't like
need
it,
to talk about on the insurance committee? Okay, we're adjourned. Now we'll call the P&D meeting together, in session, call us together. We've got 2 tax back resolutions to send to full court. We didn't make, do they have copies? Did you put copies at everybody's place? I know I had some.
I just brought 2 for you. I didn't bring them for everybody.
Okay. Y'all want to share these, you can. If you're on the P&D committee.
No, I'm not on it.
Okay, let's do the first one. Cliff, you want to
Yes.
come up here for anything? We got 2 tax backs, resolutions. As I've told y'all before, these people are entitled to this money by state law. The only thing they have to do is request it. They do this through the cities. The cities also has a program similar to this. And then the county has a program. And they're going through this in a proper manner. And the first one will be TMS. And they're requesting, and we're going to do both of these together, but we would like to have them separate in the agenda so that each one of them have their own form. So we got TMS and Nucor Steel. What they do is they pay the taxes, sales tax, use tax, whatever other tax on construction equipment, and then they apply for the tax to be returned to them, and the state reimburses them. So if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve these tax back resolutions and send them to the full court.
I'll make the motion that we approve both these tax back resolutions and send them to the full court for consideration.
Okay. Anybody second on P&D?
You don't, that's only we have a property
I'll
is it
second
really?
it, so anybody that wants to, make any further comment,
Cliff, any reason not to do this?
No, sir.
I mean, it's common practice, we do this with most, every request.
That's right, it's a standard part of the package.
Can I just have one question, because it really has nothing to do with this, I'm all for it, but, the city, like on Nucor and TMS, they're neither one inside the city. But the city also has to pass this in order for them to get it?
not this one. They send to the city if they want it from the city, but the city has nothing to do with what the county does.
Oh, I get
But the
that.
city will pass one.
Yeah, what I'm asking is, since they're located outside the
Well, it
city.
means like if they buy something at Lowe's, it's just for their construction.
Oh, okay, so if they were to
Materials.
buy construction materials in Blytheville, that's why,
That's
because
right.
I got asked about it today, and I knew we were gonna look at this today.
Yes, sir.
And that's why I was asking. But I also thought there's a lot of companies that don't look, they say they see a Blytheville address, they may look and add the Blytheville sales tax also.
Right. That's why we ask the cities and the counties.
Okay, because somebody asked me and I want to give them an answer, so.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Can I bring up just,
You must want something.
not really.
All right. The chair recognizes Mr. Chipwood.
This really grew out of a conversation I had with Justice Ash a few weeks ago about the resolution that we passed that restricted the court from considering economic development projects that did not meet the NAIC codes,
State guidelines.
state guidelines that allows the AEDC to make state incentives. Now, in looking at several of the projects that we're now working, we have, for instance, we have a very good prospect to buy the Juneau building with incentives that if they hire enough Mississippi County residents would pay for it. We have another prospect looking at the Snyder building. Now, both of these companies, I would consider them manufacturers, and in the past we have helped companies like this. But what they really, they support the manufacturing process. Really, all the ones I have would be 1, 2, 3, 4 projects that would, in the Blytheville area, that all support the 2 Nucor mills. Now, there is legislation or an opinion that said, that I read when we were looking at this once before, that anything that a person does that if they didn't do it, the company would have to do it itself, can qualify under that manufacturer's umbrella, so to speak. And all of these companies do things for Nucor that if they didn't do it, Nucor would have to do it. Now, and they're all good, they will be locally controlled, and they'll hire Mississippi County residents for the most part, or we won't make the incentive. The ones on the building, will have a purchase price on the building that if they don't hire anybody, they'll have to pay us $600,000 in one instance, $660,000 in the other. So that's a real incentive, because it's not like, well, we'll just see what we hire and then we'll take what we get. If they don't do it, they'll have to pay for the building.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking maybe we might consider, and I haven't talked to Jeremy, but I just wanted to see if y'all would consider it, change that resolution or repeal it and put in another one that would allow participation in non-AEDC qualified projects that are closely related to manufacturing support. And y'all still get the decision in every instance of whether or not you think it's something that we should support.
Tell me what closely related manufacturing is.
Well, it would be somebody like the 2 companies that are looking at the buildings are both in the pipe fitter business. And they're looking at hiring about 60 people each. And those are very good wages, from $25 up to $42 an hour.
I think we can justify pipe fitters, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, and before, I think before I caught this, I think we incentivized a machine shop, which basically worked on the.
That's right,
I want to be upfront with you, I don't have a problem with that.
yeah.
But there's also another part of that ordinance that said, and this was what would really kick us in this instance, that those businesses had to do at least 75% of their business with companies outside the state of Arkansas. That's another part of that
DC. And those, and you know, there, I guess our argument would be that this is public money that our people have voted on, and y'all are the proper custodians of that money. And where there's a conflict between the goals of the state of AEDC and the goals of the people of Mississippi County, which, you know, we're all for supporting our local people and local people who are trying to build businesses. And we're all for getting somebody in the Juneau and Snyder building. And we've got another company that's running a small port facility that is about to enlarge itself, that's serving Nucor, and they pay good wages. So I don't think we ought to y'all should not be prohibited from making a positive determination if you
You know,
think
the
it's
thing about that port facility, the one thing that would concern me is that it's a service industry. And that would put us back in some of the things that we have refused. So we're gonna have to be creative if we approve the port facility, something other than a service industry.
Well, I think that's why I was thinking if they were the support service for the manufacturing industries. And then we don't have to worry about somebody that's got a house cleaning service or.
Well, in that case, a port service is strictly going to be bringing in raw product. You generally don't ship, well, I'm not gonna say you don't generally ship your good product out, because I think that sometimes Nucor does, but the majority of their raw services are brought in. They bring in scrap steel on the river, and if they're offloading that, I can see it. I would agree with you that what we should look at it and say is probably do away with the 75% outside Arkansas and say that it has to be a manufacturing related industry, which you could even call the port service to some degree that if they're servicing only industry.
Right, they couldn't run any of the mills if they didn't have the port. And in a way we've already done this. I mean, we counted the number of employees that were gonna be included in Rick Ellis's service at Big River Steel. Those 100 employees. Rick didn't get that incentive. He didn't get the incentive. Big River got it, but they counted his people, you know, and we did this with, of course, we did it with the Newcombs, and we've done it with, we've done it with several. Newark, that's what they are. I mean, they're a repair and remanufacture service. So, you know, they have to, I mean, all those mills have to have them all. And the mills are here. And these are people that will hire locally, or we won't incentivize them. I mean, the contracts will be written that way. So since we've got all these, I mean, these are companies that are coming in to do business with Nucor and Big River that we have done our share to attract. We might as well do everything we can to maximize the number of Mississippi County residents who benefit from that.
Have you worked on the verbiage on
I
this at all?
haven't. I just wanted to see how y'all, I mean, we don't have to, this is not something that has to come before court this month. I just wanted to kind of bring it up.
See if you needed to be working on it?
Yeah, well, that's right.
When we talked about it, and Cliff and I talked about it last week, or earlier this week, time has gone together. he's not in a hurry to do it, but he wanted to know what the court felt before he put a package together to bring to us.
When we first adopted those guidelines, I didn't disagree, but I personally felt it was a little bit restrictive on us, because with the 11 members of the court, I think we've got a house full of common sense.
Right.
That we ought to be able to make the determination on a case-by-case basis, does it fit the guidelines that this court intends?
Right.
Now be careful, because that grocery store down in Osceola had 40 employees, and we didn't jump in and give them $400,000.
Well, we had a resolution in place that we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it.
But now he's wanting to rewrite the
Right, I
resolution.
understand that, but at that time, we couldn't do it.
No.
So, the grocery store owner's in the room, by the way, too.
I think if we rewrite that resolution, we need to still say that it needs to be manufacturing related.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I'll just be honest, I don't want to go out here and support bringing in a Lowe's or a grocery store. You know, I don't want to something that may come in here and be here for 3 to 5 years, decide to close up their doors and walk out. Most of the steel mills with $1 billion industry are not going to shut their doors and walk away from it.
No.
Now, anything can happen.
Yeah.
But if it's manufacturing related, I think that if we put that in a resolution, and I think we could do away with 75%, because I agree with you that if they're gonna hire 60 people and they're gonna be servicing the steel mills here, both New Cores and Big River, that's not a bad thing for us.
No, it's a good thing.
You know, and I don't think we have to sell it outside of Arkansas, but I think we do need to keep it in there that it is in some way manufacturing related.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't disagree with you, Rick, I just don't want to open the door for something to slip in on us that we don't intend for.
And that's why I want it in the form of a resolution.
Yeah, close to that verbiage.
Yes, I think that's what we need. I think we need somebody to sit down and write that so that we can say, well, this does not meet the criteria, this does, we'll do these. And the Riverport, I think we could say, yes, it's gonna work for the industry, but is it something that, there again, I'll even go with what Bill says. It's a service industry. Do we need to support that? To some degree, I see, yes, that we do, but to some degree, I don't want to
Well,
get
and
it too wide open.
actually ports, I think qualify. I mean, because they've helped the ports in Pine Bluff and Little Rock, and, I mean, the state does that all the time. That actually never crossed my mind that the port wouldn't, but we do have a port project that's started to work.
Okay.
I feel like the way it is now, we're handicapped. We're limited to what we can do.
Right.
And we're losing here in Mississippi County by having to follow those guidelines. So, I mean, I'm not on this committee, but I would like for you to do something different and where we could help local people. And
Well, I'll get with Jeremy and we'll work up some language, and next month at the committee, I'll present it to the committee, to this committee, to decide. And one other thing that I'm not gonna bring up today, I would like you to think about.
He's not gonna bring it up, but here he goes.
Well,
we ain't got to talk about it, do we?
we don't ever have to talk about it. I really just kind of I need some guidance. That's what I'm asking for.
We'll certainly give you.
Yeah, that's right. But I'd
I don't know
rather,
what you want, but you get it.
that's right. And I'd rather get it when I'm expecting it. So obviously, hiring Mississippi County people is what
Our goal.
our goal. That's what we're all about. Now, I have been worried for some number of years. I've talked with the TIP agencies. I've met with them. Other than Linda Moore at Dawson's, they have availed themselves of the work program. I mean, she's had people who don't have a job, but she believes could hold a job, and she sent them through the work program. The other two agencies haven't sent anyone, which makes me question, they're not about hiring Mississippi County residents. They're about placing people who are on their list in a job.
That's exactly
And a
what
lot of
where
those,
the money is.
that's where the money is. So, I've been talking to Dr. Shimwell, and I'm gonna present, we're gonna present this to the Great River Board tomorrow, that we, at least for a year, experiment with the following. We would put in $25,000 out of economic development. And we can call it workforce training, because that's what it is. He'll put in 35,000. He'll hire somebody for around 42 to 45,000, the best person we can find, who is familiar with the people in Mississippi County. And when we make a deal, we make an economic development agreement with the people on the Juneau building or the Snyder building or the Port project or any other project that comes up, that person would be assigned to help them hire Mississippi County residents. So they could do things like, go to the temp agencies, and we're not going to try to cut the temps out or anything. If they're on their list, we're not going to interfere with that. It's just going to be somebody, because there's a gap there. We make the incentive, and then the company might want to hire Mississippi County residents, but they call the temp agencies and they say, well, yeah, we've got a lot of Mississippi County residents, but maybe, our better people might be from the Boot Hill or something. I don't know what's said. I just want to be sure, as I'm sure y'all do, that we get every possible job we could get. And if we try this for a year and we don't, because we'll know, because this person will have to make reports to both Dr. Shimwell and myself. And if we don't feel like that they put enough people in place to be worth the investment, then won't make it another year. I mean, it's going to be clear to the person who's hired that this is a trial run. But I think that somebody who showed up in their office 2 mornings out of 5, say they had 2 or 3 projects going, and to work closely with the HR people, and could work closely with the recruiters at the college that are sending the people through the work program, then I can see where they could make some real positive difference in the total number of our people.
We did this about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We hired 2 guys, 2 young men.
Well, the college does, and they're still on staff.
Well, but we reimburse them.
We pay for the classes that they recruit.
We paid for the guys to a degree out of 100,000 in Wenatchee. This was the guys that went to churches.
Right, and they're still doing that. They're still doing
The
that.
same, all right, so this is an additional person.
This would be an additional person, because those guys have to spend most of their time out recruiting. I mean, they're still filling up the classes. And probably next month, I'll come back to you and ask, 200,000 lasts about 14 to 15 months in workforce investment that we make. And I don't think there's any better money that we spend than that we spend training our own people. And it lowers the cost of our companies to do business here, which makes us a more attractive place to stay and to locate. But this would be an addition, and I want y'all to approve it, or at least know that you're approving this for this job.
You have a person in mind?
No, I have nobody in mind.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, they'll be an employee of the college, not Great River.
We're just gonna supplement the salary.
We're just going to supplement the salary,
Does that come out of our money or your money?
economic development money.
Our money. Not your contracted
Oh,
amount?
no,
Okay.
we can barely meet ends meet as it is.
Oh, gosh. I feel bad.
This is breaking my heart.
So, before you come back with the other 2 from the college that we've got that are out recruiting, we'll get a report on how many of those folks have went through workforce training and how many of those have found jobs in Mississippi County, things of that nature, correct?
Right. I mean, they're preparing that report now. They'll have it. We'll have that at the next meeting. How many people have we graduated? How many do we think have jobs? Because while one of the recruiters one of the recruiters does everything he can to get him a job, but he's not that in close contact. You know, he's got the whole job market spread out in front of him, you know, and in point of fact, if he helps those people get a job at McDonald's, that's better than having no job at all.
At least they're paying taxes.
That's right. They're on their way then. I mean, they can rise in the work ladder. But this would be a person that would be more assigned to companies that are going to be doing like steady hiring over the course of the year as they build up from 0 to 60 or from 50 to 100.
So this new industry that is looking at the two buildings we have, Snyder
Right.
and the other building, they would be helping them recruit
That's right.
employees from Mississippi County.
That's right.
And they would keep track of how many of those are still there, how long they stay there, the whole 9 yards.
That's right.
Okay.
And we would make that knowledge, the companies would be required to work with that person and make available to them the necessary knowledge they would need through their HR department as part of our incentive. I mean, I think we're going to have to provide a service, but we're also going to have to get tough, you know, to make companies understand just how important this is to us, that they hire local or Pemmiscott and Dunklin, you know, at half the rate.
All right. Put
You gonna bring that
request
next month?
together.
Mhm.
That'd require an appropriation.
Yes. Well, I mean, that would be up to y'all. Y'all could, we could add it into the workforce, a general appropriation that we make available to the college to both fund the,
He's not asking for more money if he does that.
well, I'm gonna ask for 200,000. It's just a question of whether I ask for 225,000. But I'm not gonna ask for 220. I want y'all to know
Okay.
what we're gonna do with the 25. I don't wanna just, it won't be a separate thing.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work, I'll come back and tell you it didn't work. You know, or I'll tell you what did happen and y'all can decide whether it worked or not.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments to make or anything?
All right, a question on, you talking about someone that's been in the community for a while, or?
Yes,
Well ingrained in?
well ingrained in the community. Because that's what we need. I mean, we need somebody that actually knows some people that would like to get a job, you know. But they won't have the sole purpose of the other two guys is to recruit people into the work program. And they are steadily working, they're steadily working on recruitees. But this would be a person who then would have the time, and their assignment would be to take those graduates of the work program, plus anybody else from Mississippi County that would like a job, and try to get them in the jobs that we have incentivized. So they would need to know the community. And you know, nobody knows everybody, but they would need to know, you know, the areas where they don't know anybody, and at least somebody in that area, so they could go talk to them.
I just think it's still very, very important that we focus on getting Mississippi County residents jobs, and this is
That's
just
right.
another way.
That's right.
I think that's gonna be the key in getting this tax renewed.
It's got to be Mississippi County focused.
That's right.
If we don't take care of ourselves, nobody else is going to.
I agree.
Just, I know that they give us national average on unemployment. Have we got an updated figure on what the unemployment rate for Mississippi County is right now?
Well, the last time I saw it was about 4.1, which, you know, when I was taking economics, 4% was considered zero unemployment. But there's places in Arkansas that have 2.6 unemployment. Now, I've never been a real fan of the absolute accuracy of that unemployment figure, because part of it is based on polling they do by telephone. And we all know there's families that if they call in and they say, does anyone in the family have a job, and maybe somebody is on Social Security, or maybe somebody's disabled, but somebody else is working, it frightens them, and the easiest thing to do is say, no, no one has a job.
Well, it's also based off of how many people are collecting unemployment. And if a person is already falling off the rolls and can't collect it, then that makes your unemployment numbers not necessarily true either.
That's right. I mean, there's a complete difference between unemployment and the percentage of people participating in the workforce. There again, we're about 2 points higher than the national average. I think we have, and this wouldn't be worth writing down in paper because I'm not sure, but it can be looked up. The percentage of people, I think the national average is about 42 or 44% of the people don't participate in the workforce between 18 and 65. And I think here, whatever that national figure is, we're about 2 points higher. Which actually, you know, given that we're here and you know, we have a problem with systemic multi-generational poverty is not that bad, really.
Compared to other Delta counties, not just in Arkansas, but even Mississippi, Alabama, and some of the other Delta counties, don't you feel like we're probably better off than
Oh yeah, we're
most
almost
Delta
better off than
counties?
any
I
other.
think we are.
I mean, much better off
Much better off.
than other Delta
You
related
have to
counties.
get down around the New Orleans, Baton Rouge oil refineries.
Comparing apples to apples,
Right.
we're actually in real good shape.
That's right.
I'm just glad this place didn't go to, steel mills didn't go to Helena, you know. I'm glad they stopped on here. Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Yeah.